with reaction. Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter. We welcome back John Solomon from the Hill. John, let's start with you. A lot was said about Hillary and all this. Give you a chance to lay this out.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing is we now have a really complete timeline of what the FBI knew when. And we now know that before the Obama administration made the following decisions: restarted the U.S. nuclear cooperation agreement with Russia, approved the Uranium 1 deal, and then gave clearance so that many utilities in the United States could buy Russian uranium. They knew the following things, at least through the FBI. They knew this. One, that Russia was assisting Iran and their illicit nuclear program. Two, that the APCO, the lobbying firm, at least the Russians were claiming they were paying money to them in an effort to bid to help Hillary Clinton. And three, the very Russian arm, Rosatom's arm in the United States that was sent here to build this uranium business, was engaged in bribery, kickbacks, racketeering, and extortion. If you have all that information, it does raise a great public policy question. Why did the Obama administration, the Hillary Clinton State Department, the other departments, why did they approve these deals?
Unbelievable. There was never any sense to that. Sarah, I see you shaking your head. Both you and John have been at the forefront of all of this. You both know the informant.
Yes, and these are thousands of documents, Sean, saved from the time he was working with the FBI as an undercover informant. And I stress again, he spent nearly 3 decades working with U.S. intelligence agencies. That includes the FBI on many issues, a number of issues. And I want to go back to one point. In April 2010 is when he informed the FBI of what he found out regarding Russia and Iran. They were aiding Iran with their fabricated assemblies for their nuclear reactors, with consultation and with fuel. So the Obama administration actually knew that this was going on. There was documented proof, there were recordings, but yet in October 2010, they still went through with the deal. The CFIUS approved the deal for the sale of the Canadian firm Uranium 1, which had 20% of our uranium mining assets in the United States, in Wyoming in particular. So we have to ask ourselves these questions and say, if there is an investigation, it's going to be up to those investigators at the Department of Justice and others, to look at the money trail.
Unbelievable. And we're going to learn a lot more about that. Both you and John agree. I see you both shaking your head. Congressman Gaetz, we don't have enough uranium, Congressman? The idea that FBI director at the time, Mueller, knew, because we had the informant, about bribery, extortion, kickbacks, money laundering, and this is nearly 18 months before CFIUS signs off on the Uranium 1 deal, knowing Vladimir Putin wanted a foothold in our industry. It's mind-numbing that this could have ever happened.
Well, and it seems to indicate, Sean, that you would have to have some type of improper influence to end up with these facts. The real question is whether or not there's going to be any consequences, because the Clintons, for decades, are used to having a different standard of justice applied to them than is applied to the rest of the American people. That's why I filed legislation with countless other conservative colleagues like Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan and Todd Rokita, calling for a second special counsel to look into the Clinton Foundation and Uranium 1, because, I mean, we can't have Mueller investigate. He should have raised an objection. We can't have Rosenstein investigate, because we've already seen the extent to which he's tied up in a lot of these facts, and Jeff Sessions has recused himself. So the only way this doesn't become the next Benghazi, where we stir up a bunch of facts but then let the Clintons off the hook, is to appoint a special counsel, and we need our Attorney General to do that immediately. In other words, separate
and apart from the special counsel investigating the investigators. We have so much to get to, so little time. John and Sarah in particular, I want to ask you, will we hear from the informant you both know? John.
That's a great question. I mean, this interview was a non-transcribed interview with staff, not members of Congress, and I would expect that both staffs will meet, decide what he told them, and decide whether they want to have a public hearing. I think that's the next step.
Will we hear from him?
Yes, I believe we will, and I think it's vitally important for him to speak publicly. I know that he wants to, but he wants to follow the proper process, and that's with his attorney, Victoria Tonsing, and she will, I think, make it affordable for the American people to see him.
Unbelievable work. We'll continue to peel away the layers of the onion here. You guys have done phenomenal work over the last year. We thank you for finding truth.